Well, if you're just tuning in right now, you're about to see something that's absolutely incredible and brought a smile to my face. I made it to MSNBC. What?
I have a question for you about political projection, and then we saved a little time to talk Met Gala. What do you see there at a time like this?
Okay, for those of you who don't know, this is not AI. This is not AI, okay? To be clear, this isn't artificial intelligence. This isn't computer generated. This was done using the old school footage of MSNBC and, of course, Hardlands Media. Did this happen? No, but I want to give a huge shout out to Turncoat Don, who made this wonderful collage, and I want you guys to enjoy it, okay? We deserve a little laughter here. What? Absolutely. Let's. First of all, I find it ironic now that corporate media and the very same people in the folk blue, no matter whose sphere, who used to hate Bernie Sanders and AOC are now praising them because, look, I want to be clear here. I am not a Democrat voter. I'm not a Republican voter, but our job is to give an analysis and a perspective. So let's be very clear here in regards to understanding the political battlefield that could unfold before us. The Democrats as a brand have failed spectacularly. So that means 8 years ago, all those people who are saying, hey, trust in Bernie and AOC to run the party have been proven correct. Little did we know that Bernie and AOC would be neoliberal Democratic sellouts or either that follow the party line. Okay, now this is clear. So on the one hand, again, we progressives, independents who are politically homeless, I'm pretty sure you were saying the same thing. I was saying the same thing. Jimmy was saying all of it. All of us were saying the same thing. We've been proven correct. But we also now are seeing the fact that the Democratic establishment and corporate media now are going to have to play the game of, all right, a lot of our heavy hitters, at least who we thought were heavy hitters, like Cory Booker or Hakeem Jeffries or Nancy Pelosi or Chucky Boy Schumer, that they can't draw in the crowds. AOC and Bernie can. And what I see playing out, and I hope I'm wrong, but I see it playing out, I'm seeing the beginnings of what we saw pre-2016, and that is the Bernie Sanders momentum, but this time being AOC, Bernie Sanders 3.0, but this time AOC doing it. And I see people latching on to AOC as that progressive challenger in the Democrat Party who's good, who's young. She's got a following. She's got all these people surrounding her. And I see the hype machine being built up. And then, of course, remember, TYT at the time being the only home of the progressives. And I know people have problems with TYT.
Yeah.
We're able to capitalize on this. And again, they exploded in popularity. I see other channels doing the same thing too. And maybe in some extent, maybe TYT if it's still around. But I see this playing out to where they're going to try and make her like the big left progressive candidate, all the while the Democrats are trying to filter or create somebody to be that corporate person to where, oh no, AOC can't win because the Democrats don't have a primary, don't really have an open, free, clear primary because they got super delegates. And then AOC saying, okay, everyone, we got to support this guy because we got to stop whoever the boogeyman is for that the Republicans are going to pull up. Because I don't think we're going to see Trump, a third Trump administration. If we do, I mean, it's content gold for us. But on the other hand, it's like, well, then who is MAGA going to have? Who are they going to pull up there? Donald Trump Jr. or whoever else could be potentially Trump's successor? Because this is the road we're at, and I see this happening. I see it playing out, and I just think we need to get in front of it before you got everyone who are like before you have the Gen Z at least, being like how millennials were for Bernie Sanders. And I think if we wake people up to this rude awakening of just how Democrats will play us, I think we have a very good chance of doing something that's not just relying on electoral politics. Again, I could be wrong on this, but I have this feeling. I see it playing out. Maybe it's because I got that 1,000-mile stare in the trenches, but I see it. Unless let's get your thoughts.
I like that. I like what you're kind of reminding us, which is it can be upsetting or befuddling, but sometimes just actually taking it in and saying, oh, that's how thin the argument is. And there's still a world out here of people who care about facts, history, and the arts, which brings us to you being honored tomorrow, which is one of our hooks for getting you back tonight. What does that mean to you? What's tomorrow about for you?
But the media's going to do their
grown
job
in importance to me since
saying, well,
I heard about
their
it.
fun, but now we got to get back in line and stop the bad guys.
All right.
I don't even know what's real anymore.
All right. Huge shout out to Turncoat Don. Turncoat Don, when you actually handed that to me or when you posted that on X, that really brought a smile to my face. It's been a rough. Let's just say it made me smile and get out of that grim dark depression. So there you go. But huge shout out to Turncoat Don. But there's a lot to really address here because I want to first of all give a huge shout out to Matt Weinglass who had me on his show a while back, and I think it was for his 100th episode, which was a real privilege to be part of. So shout out to Matt Weinglass as well. But let's talk about the Democrats because it is abundantly clear that, first of all, David Hogg's attempt to try and get out incumbents, the DNC is going to do everything they can to remove him as vice chair of the Democratic Party. They're going to do that. Cenk Uygur's Rebellion PAC, it's no dice. I don't see it gaining any ground, okay? Let's just remember the failures of our revolution, Justice Democrats, brand new Congress, okay? But there is the Fight the Oligarchy tour. And I'm going to be honest here. The words that AOC and Bernie are saying, yeah, in principle, yeah, I agree with it. But I think there's a lot of people who agree with it. We don't want to see these millionaires and billionaires buy our republic. We don't want to see these millionaires and billionaires rule over us, buy all the farmland, buy all the houses, buy all the businesses, and then we have to listen to them. I think this is something universally Democrats, Republicans, Libertarians, Greens, Socialists, Progressives can all agree. We don't want to be ruled over by these oligarchs. But however, actions speak louder than words. Deeds are better than statements. So I'm not really expecting much from an AOC, Bernie Sanders Fight the Oligarchy tour, except just give hopium and copium. But it's also clear that they're pulling in the crowds. Okay, that's evidence enough. And perhaps maybe after the election cycle, people aren't tuned into politics as much. And that's a shame, but it is what it is. And I think right now, the politics that people are following is more of the drama that you're seeing with Hassan Piker and Ethan Klein and everything else in between for about that. Because nothing says or sells better than, you have that traditional YouTube drama, which isn't anything new. It shouldn't shock any one of you. It shouldn't. It should not. But yet here we are. So why am I talking about this? Well, because I want to bring this up here. This is Alexandria Ocasio-Cortez, who rips the GOP for rushing ahead with Medicare cuts, Medicaid cuts when everyone's asleep. Because, let's face it, the GOP, they're playing their role and the Democrats have to play their role. And Representative Alexandria Ocasio-Cortez, whether you like it or not, Nancy Pelosi will one day be gone. Bernie Sanders one day will be gone. AOC, with the process of elimination, it would be wrong to not say so, would be one of the many potential new successors to perhaps maybe change or shape the Democrat Party. I don't know what she can do because the Democrats never want to change. So let's go and talk about this. U.S. Representative Alexandria Ocasio-Cortez castigated House Republicans for pursuing massive cuts to Medicaid in the dead of night as a committee markup hearing on the GOP's legislation dragged on to the early hours of Wednesday morning. Ocasio-Cortez said it's shameful that Republicans are rushing ahead with their proposal at 2:38 in the morning when everyone's asleep, when we've asked for the opportunity to do this in the light of day so that people can call their representatives' offices in order to stop this disaster. Very true. So let's go ahead and play this video.
And requirements and many of the ways that they are designing these changes to Medicaid are based on changes in Georgia. Georgia has the third highest number of uninsured Americans in the country. Catastrophic. And that's with the so-called improvements from monthly reporting, paperwork requirements to annual paperwork requirements. And so the Republican majority has looked at the state with the third highest number of uninsured Americans and said, that's what we want to model our Medicaid system after. This catastrophic failure. And I understand that the Republican majority wants the American public to be sold into accepting this by saying, you know what? We are secretly paying for Medicaid for every Venezuelan in the world. And that there are millions of 8-year-olds getting sex reassignment surgeries on Medicaid dime. And if we just take all of that, that will somehow make your Medicaid, cut that and make your Medicaid better. Sounds ridiculous because it is. And then they want to say, if you have $1 million house, right? Let's set this cap at $1 million. Okay, cool. I have a question though. I have another number that I think is interesting. Maybe what if you're getting a $22 million house, inheriting a $22 million house? Because what Republicans are saying is—
Now, I want to be clear. There's a lot of people who I know who are on Medicaid or Medicare. If the Republicans actually successfully pull this off, which, mind you, again, after November 5th, not only did the Republicans win the presidency, I mean, come on, Trump is president, but they also took control of the House and the Senate. I mean, pretty much they have the power. They have the power, and the Democrats let it happen. And while AOC is saying some very interesting words here, when the Democrats get their power, what's going to happen, AOC? What's going to happen? Will the Democrats follow through with their agenda, or will they once again say, oh, well, we got blue dog Democrats. Oh, well, we really can't do it. Oh, well, it's not politically expedient. Or are we once again going to keep on getting more and more emails talking about fundraisers?
Is that if we make all of these cuts, we will then shift that and invest it into Medicaid for people who actually deserve it. But if that were true, then the top line number, our budget for Medicaid, would be staying the same, right? We'd be taking from undeserving people and giving it to deserving people, and that should even out. But that's not what's happening in this bill. This bill is cutting nearly $1 trillion in Medicaid spending overall. Why? Because down the hallway, they are trying to finance tax cuts for people who are inheriting $22 million houses. Because in 2017, Republicans and the Trump administration tried to increase the exemption of what you get a tax break on. If you used to inherit an $11 million house, you would get no taxes. You had no taxes on that in that estate tax. They said that's not enough. We need no taxes on a $22 million house.
Will the gentlelady yield?
Expired. I have to finish. That expires now. And it costs a lot of money to extend that tax break up to $22 million. So to pay for that, they are doing this.
All right. So the takeaway. First of all, again, I know I played the parody video early on with Harlan's Media. Shout out again to Turncoat Don. But, you know, what I was saying to Matt Weinglass, not on MSNBC, what I was saying to Matt Weinglass is like, look, I see videos like that being used to catapult AOC and the Democrats. Now, on a personal feelings, because feelings matter, right? We all have feelings. We all have hopes and ambitions, aspirations, and so much more. I do hope that maybe, I don't know, this could be a wake-up call for people to actually fight. Now, I have, and I will not waste my time in the two-party system, not Republican or Democrat. I don't believe in the Democrats. I don't believe in the Republicans. I don't believe in right now. Even then, when it comes down to third parties, I'm kind of getting into the jaded camp of, does electoral politics even matter anymore? Maybe Misty Winston is once again proven correct. Actually, you know what? She has been proven correct about a lot of things. So there you go. Shout out to Misty and her show on Due Dissidence. But the real truth is that stuff like this will hype people up and get them excited for 2026, and in turn, potential primaries for 2028. And I gave this warning, you know, do you have any idea how much shite we're going to get after AOC is like in the primary, if she's truly going to run in the 2028 election cycle? I am deeply concerned that people will have their blinders on and that people will think, well, if we get a progressive in, things will be different. Well, pay attention to how 2026, 2020, and 2024 primaries played out. I mean, I don't want to tell the next young generation, and I don't want to be mean. I don't want to be evil. I don't want to be that person saying that what they're doing is a waste of time, but we got to warn people how the Democrats run their primaries. I mean, hell, they changed the rules for Biden, who wasn't mentally there. They changed the rules for him, and he wasn't upstairs. They changed the rules for him. He wasn't at all. Functioning. So when I say, everyone, that we have a social responsibility to give a warning to how this primary could play out in 2028, we do. And I could see people calling for anyone in independent media that's not following the Democrat or progressive dream. Because again, this is all hypothetical, but perhaps maybe I'm alone in this theory. AOC running a primary. Now, will she win? I think Russell from Due Distance called it out perfectly. No, she'll be there, but then she'll drop out. But the damage will be done. Support citizen ballot initiatives, support third parties and independents if you can, and fight for a better future. But you got to call out the party. And look, to the progressives in the Democrat Party, when we asked you for forced to vote, you weren't there. And the thing is, former House Representative Matt Gaetz proved that forced to vote can work. That's a functioning policy and idea. And I don't know if Matt Gaetz was watching Jimmy Dore or Hard Lens Media, because we talked about forced to vote, but it's a functioning policy. It works. It works. It works. Forced to vote is a great tactic. It works. It works. And it's not a Jimmy Dore idea. It's not an RBN idea. It's not an INN idea. It's not a Hard Lens Media idea. It's not a due dissidence idea. It's an idea that came from the DSA playbook. So if you're going to fight, fine, fight, but show me. Because for the last 8 years in these trenches, I've seen too much to make me think that this time will be different.